week 4 of our Cork City Marathon training plan, joined by regulars Brian Hearn. Brian, how are you?
I'm all good. And yourself?
I'm very good now, thank you. Very good. And also our coaching supremo, Ken Nason. How are things?
All good here, all good.
All good and all excited.
I better start. I think I'm going to give
Go on.
Ken a little compliment on his comments from last week, episode 3 or whatever we want to call it, week 3 of our plan. So you spoke on week 3, and this goes for everybody really, about people working at a desk and activating the glutes and all that and using bands. I've actually started doing that more this week, and the difference is phenomenal. So goes for everybody. So you heard it here. Ken Nason, your advice worked.
Okay. Brian is getting up from his backside more.
That's
Kind of,
it.
yeah.
It's actually doing something. We had quickly, and we before we go on to the plan, all right. So we did have the discussion last week, and we had it on the podcast about the warm up and warm down and cool down.
Oh yes,
So,
did we? Yeah.
It's the talk of Cork and beyond, I believe.
It's the talk of Ireland at the moment, and the poll at the moment, and this is as we record this on a Thursday night, cool down is winning well.
Oh, by 70-80%, I can imagine.
Correct. 78% at the moment. So Ken Nason and Ryan Creech shocked us all.
Oh, I love that moment. You know when I listened to the podcast and he said that, it was like Christmas.
Well, we said that on it actually as well.
Yeah, we did.
But there was people actually contacting and said we're laughing here at the explanations of the car cooling down and the food cooling down and everything. Yeah. Anyway, we better get back to reality.
Right, let's get back. All right. So week 4. Ken, do you want to talk through week 4 there first?
Yeah, so basically we're going to keep, so Tuesday and Wednesday's runs are going to be the same. So it's 25 to 30 minutes on Tuesday. Wednesday, it's 35 to 40 minutes. Saturday, 25 to 30 minutes. Sunday, we're just adding a bit of time onto it. So we're going 80 to 90 minutes. Rest days still say the same: Monday, Tuesday, Monday, Thursday and Friday are rest days.
Yeah.
80 to 90 minutes is is a bit of a step up now, I suppose, into kind of
correct. Brian. And also people must know this is the last week of the kind of easier stuff. There is going to be slightly kind of not massive sessions. We're going to introduce these slowly, but there is from next week going to be sessions. So make sure as well, you are getting just the time on your feet, which is all this is for the first 4 weeks, is time on your feet and getting used to it. Yeah,
it's just time on your feet, and we'll introduce some bit of a workout in for the following week.
Exactly, yeah.
So we'll go over that plan again in a minute, and obviously we'll share the visual on it as well for people to follow. We had a draw, I think, as well.
We did. Okay, so I recorded it before we came on, and here we go. Congratulations to Samantha Coakley on winning the Precision Fueling drink mix and bottle. Here it is, lads. Look, this is it. Here we go again. Lovely. Okay, really nice. Yeah, so, well, thank you again to George from Precision Fueling for that. It's a nice place to get you into marathon training for that. So, next prize.
Another prize.
Another prize.
But it was just one.
This is
going beyond the joke. So
getting ridiculous.
Brian and myself have been to this establishment on numerous occasions, along with many other people. But this week's prize is a visit to Ken Nason Sports Massage Therapy. So, Ken, what can people expect when they go to you for a sports massage?
An unforgettable experience.
Very good.
And if we're still talking afterwards, it would be a good thing.
Yes, exactly. So no, look, myself and Brian.
There might be nobody into this.
There might be, exactly. We all running away. But again, same as the last few weeks, how to enter, just need to subscribe to the show and put a comment down below, and you are then entered into the draw. Cannot enter this competition on Facebook or Instagram. It has to be on the YouTube channel, and we'll do a draw before we come on air again next week. And
can I just add, it's not just for people who are following the training plan, it's for anyone who comments on the YouTube channel.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
could be never watched the video person. Well, I hope you watched the video.
Yeah.
but you
It's
can
not
just
specific to marathon trainers who are following the plan, though. That's the big thing.
exactly.
We move on again. We have a good few questions in this week. I'll fire with the first one if you don't mind, and then sure we can take it in. So we got a question from Barry O'Donnell, and again, it's a question I'm sure that is on many people's minds. So again, make sure you send them in because you're not alone. So question is, what pace is steady in a training plan if your marathon pace is 8 minutes a mile? And again, we can make this relevant to everybody, but do you want to take that one there, Ken?
Yeah, so assume, Barry, what you're thinking is like what your easy pace would be for your run. So if you're looking at 8 minute pace, but you're looking at say 3:30 for marathon, you're probably running your easy pace at 9:30. But again, it must be conversational in your kind of terms that feels easy recovery pace.
Yeah.
Yeah. And people can apply that across the board. If like, Barry's comment there is his marathon pace is 8 minute miling. Other people will have maybe faster or slower. So again, rough guide is a minute to minute 30 slower on your easy runs. But again, as you said, judge your own conversation, pace, breathing, etc. It's meant to be easy.
Yeah, exactly. Easy is easy. Second question. How can you tell if your running gait is off?
Yeah, so basically, I think there's a different shoe for everybody. That will suit you. If you're having problems with injuries with one shoe, there may be a better shoe for you. So what I would advise is you go into Edge, John Buckley's, different sports stores, and get it assessed to see if you're wearing the correct shoes.
I think just sorry, and because I know, Damien, you come from this background, obviously, but I'm actually as a neutral here, I would say the same. Like, John Buckley's the Edge, there's others, but there is a difference from going to someone who specializes in just as opposed to going into any sport shop. I would think going to an expert like the Edge, like John Buckley's, would be an important thing to do, and others around the country, obviously.
Yeah, because some people initially might buy shoes online, or that mightn't be right for them, But
I also think you need to talk to runners when you're buying runners. And I think they are like, and again, I know I come from a shop, but I mean, this could be any single running shop, but I think there is some sports shops out there who do gait analysis, but the people actually don't really know what they're talking about. So just go in, make sure. Another quick one as well, if you want that, check the bottom of your shoe and see where the wear pattern is on your shoe. That is also a very good sign of if you're a neutral or if you need arch support. If you're planting right in the middle of the shoe and you can see the wear pattern, more than likely you're okay. If the wear is on either side of the shoe, you might need arch support. But again, go in and talk to somebody about that.
Yeah, I really can emphasize. I think it is important to go to the right shop because I've gone in myself occasionally as a kind of I won't say a spy, but I've gone in and spoke to people in certain sports, and I know they're just feeding me the kind of, what it says on the tin as opposed to the expertise advice, selling the shoe that they have.
I can safely say Brian, he's not talking about the Edge Sports.
I'm not. No, I'm genuine in this.
He's never been in there, so really, so
that's right. Last time,
but a lot of the time, I get people in here that I have sent down to Damian, and somebody's new to running, but they don't know whether their shoe's worn down or not, and someone could be getting shin splints, problems with their feet, but they're wearing a shoe for too long and the sport is gone.
And another one is people wearing like sometimes I'd go up a half a size, people wearing shoes that they think is
massive,
sizing, and it makes blisters and all these type of things. So it's especially for a new runner, and this is a topic we really haven't gone into, but getting that expert advice early is important.
And I actually think that is a topic I think we need to probably address a little bit more in another episode or something like that, because I think it is a very important episode, because especially for your training runs, if you're out 4 days a week, if you're in the wrong footwear, you're going to it'd be disaster for you. Right, we move on. Okay, so if anyone else, and I mean it, call into myself in the Edge Sports, call into John Buckley's, there's the lads in there.
Fitness Solutions and Mallow are very good as well for anyone that neck of the woods.
So there's plenty around, and there's loads up in Dublin, there's loads in Galway. So make sure you get into your local running shop is the answer to that one. Okay. Question 3. Aiming for 5 hours, should I be running longer at each session?
No, at the moment, the plan we have in place and the runs we're putting in, and we're gradually increasing the Sunday run, and any of the workouts we'll be adding in as going along, are quite sufficient for what we're doing right now.
Yeah, and again, I know some people aren't used to time, so getting their head around time as opposed to mileage, but this is still early. You're still, you're now 13 weeks out. This is going to ramp up all of a sudden, and you're going to be running 3 hours, before you know it. So enjoy this moment of where the time and the mileage is not massively high.
Yeah, just think of it as time in your feet. Don't worry about what distance you're covering at the moment.
Yeah,
because that's most important.
Right, next one. I have a couple of questions on nutrition. All right, and I can answer them as well. But I like this if you have any feedback yourselves, lads, on them as well. So the first one, long run fueling. If gels don't agree with you. So Brian, like for you.
Yeah, I have two kind of answers to that. One is like you need to pre-fuel as well. So fueling is a science in itself, and there's a lot to it. And again, we'll talk about that maybe in a later episode again. But I would say, hydration and fueling, get it right in the build up to your long run for starters. You need to practice with different stuff. So like some people would have porridge or banana or whatever it is, beforehand. So it's a trial and error thing. What works for one person may not necessarily work for the next person. I know what works for me, and I'll do that. I am working with, I've used Martin gels in the past and I found them good. And obviously now I'm using the precision fuel gels, and I'm finding them really, really good, and the other products around them. And I'll talk more about that as well as separately. But without practice, it's going to be a problem. You need to practice with these. Try one first, see how that sits with you. If it works well, then you obviously can try, bringing in one or two more. Right now, like this time last year, I was taking a gel every 45 minutes, and couldn't get any more of that in. Now I'm taking it every half hour because I practice with it. So that would be my advice. Whatever it is, you've got to practice with it.
Exactly. Ken, do you have any?
Yeah, I think that's it. Like, because it's a lot of people in Marathon Day or at like a race, take a gel from someone else. I'll try this. But in your training runs and your long runs leading up to the marathon, you need to practice what gel is right for you, and what kind of way you take them every half hour, every 45 minutes, what works for you.
So I also put it down to the question. The question was as well as if gels don't agree with you, which is quite a common issue for some people. All right. So there's a couple of things that people can look at. One, you have the jellies. All right. So you have power bar jellies, you have Cliff bar jellies, you have these ones which literally you're getting your carbs into. It's a little bit less carbs because you need to take so much jellies to get into it, but it's still it's still fueling. Other thing is high carb drinks. The only issue with that obviously is one, you have to carry a lot of water with you to do that, or have someone out in the course. It took me 7 different gel companies to realize that I need to take the drinks. Do you know what I mean? So that's how much it takes. And just because the gel agrees with you on one day or the drink agrees with you one day doesn't mean it's going to agree with you for the next 2 weeks. So you need to be very careful with it. So Brian and Ken, you need to try it. This has to be done, and now is the time to do it. It's this next 4 or 5 weeks. It has to be tried and go through it. But if gels don't agree with you, try to go to a high carb drink or try to go to the jellies. Or even
chews as well, isn't there?
Yes, the jellies, the jellies. That's all them ones, So they're all there. So trial and error again. Look, go into someone to speak to them again. Call it to ourselves in the Edge Force. Go into John Buckley's. Go into these places and go up to Run Hub and go into everywhere and get the advice from people. Because look, I tell you this much: I actually love having the chat with people and going through it and figuring out what needs they actually have. You know what I mean? And then working around that.
Yeah, I would say years ago when I ran, you just drank water.
Yeah. I'm sure that's important too. But again, we had an episode in the build up to Dublin Marathon. We can relink it again where we had George on from Precision Fuel, and he gave me a lot of information that day, and I was a bit shocked at some of the stuff myself. And having done even a lot of marathons, it was an eye opener. They also have a very good website, which I would recommend people, whatever gel you use, but they actually calculate what you can use as well or what you should use. And things. So like there's plenty of tools out there again, and contact us if you want more information too, obviously.
Exactly.
So much more information there.
The last 2 questions are they're on the nutrition line. So one is getting nutrition plus hydration right. I think we've kind of answered that. That's you need to get your carb levels right. I think it wasn't like ladies was about 60 grams of carbs per hour. I think men's was 70 to 80 grams per hour. So you need to calculate that. I will caveat all that there is a free event in the Edge Sports on the 13th of March that myself and Brian will be at, and Cork Marathon will be at as well. George from Precision Fueling will be there on the day, and he will be happy to answer any questions anybody has on nutrition as well.
Yeah, and I think a big thing as well around all those last few questions is planning. So like planning what you do in the build up before your long run, whether it be pre-fueling, but also out on the run. We mentioned about water there, just even water alone. Whether you carry it with you, or whether you do a route where you keep looping back maybe to your car where there's water available. That's all, especially if you're a novice runner, going without water on a long run would be very, you'll know about it if you do it,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the last question was best nutrition for recovery. So for me, and I've had this discussion a lot the last few days, the best nutrition for recovery is the nutrition you use before and during your run that's going to help aid your recovery at the moment. I do think there's plenty of stuff out there that's going to help Kinetica, the recovery drink, you can get whey protein. There is, but for me, if you're not fueling right, you're going to recover slower before or afterwards.
Recovery starts, I think, in the run almost, or maybe even
exactly
before
the run. I think, and it is like it's something I'm learning more and more as I do it, that you recover faster when your body is fueled better. So get that right first, and then you can adjust your recovery afterwards. Simple things as well, and sleep, massive aid to recovery. So it's not necessarily all about nutrition. You could use something, in fairness to us, as in Pillar Performance, who sponsors the show. They have the triple magnesium. It's a godsend, lads, for anyone who's in a strong training block, for if you need that extra bit of sleep and stuff like that. And that's just going to aid recovery. So there's plenty out there, again, Kinetica, SIS, Power Bar, like there's. But
even a simple, I think we had Benny Smith on before, again giving advice, and he even said your simple Lucozade Sport Orange, which is full of electrolytes. Again, that's another simple one that you can get into quickly. I do think the way to look at it, Damien, just advancing your point there, is like, if you don't take something on your run, you're kind of letting your body go into a negative. Like if you think into a negative number, that you have to then work afterwards to try and get back up. So just don't
work a lot harder up, I do, a lot harder.
So don't let your body go into a negative state before you end your run. Is the point I'm trying to make there.
I think with you guys, if you run marathons and you get to 20 miles and you haven't kind of done that right in the earlier stages, that's when you really suffer then.
100%.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So look, again, as I said, look, we can if you have any other questions, let us know. But again, on the 13th of March in the Edge Sports, make sure you pop in. You can discuss to George. You can ask myself or Brian, and we might even rob Ken down there if he's around there on that night. So
if I get a night off, I'll
if you get a night off, we try to rope you down. But I think it's worthwhile people come down, and again, Brooks Running will be there as well, and Pillar Performance will be there, so you can have plenty of people to ask questions. That's going to help that. Right, lads, that's week 4, I think, covered. So before we finish up, Brian, do you want to go through that plan there again?
Yeah. So Tuesday we're 25 to 30. Wednesday we're 35 to 40. Saturday we're 25 to 30 again. And Sunday we're 80 to 90, and I think, Ken, you said this is the final week of the kind of base building week, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah.
And again, we'll put that plan up as well.
Yeah, and again, remember, people, you can chop and change them days to suit yourself and suit your work schedule. Important thing is get out and get active and enjoy it, and we will talk to you all next week.
And before you go, don't forget we have a discount code as well. RD Marathon, all small letters. RD Marathon, 10% off. And then another giveaway we have as well. Too good to people. Now they can go.
We see you next week.
See you next week.
Good luck.
Good luck. Bye.